Hello again, I'm Larry Hamilton. Welcome to my painting channel. Today we're going to do a watercolor painting, and I'm going to do it on 300-pound watercolor paper by Artistico Fabriano. It's an 11 by 14 inch cold press paper, and we're going to do a scene that's a bit abstract. Hopefully you'll like it. I'm experimenting a little bit with some abstract paintings after a workshop I just attended this month in 2013, and so I'm going to try to do this for the first time on video, see how it works. We're going to use the brushes today. Are brushes I have for my watercolor painting class, which I will be teaching in July. I will have some more watercolor paintings posted before that class for the students to look at, but this is just an experimental painting I'm going to try today with those brushes and with those paints. So the brushes we're using today are a set of class student grade brushes by Dick Blick. Scholastic brushes they're called. I have 3 flats, a 3/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch flat, and I have 3 rounds, a number 12, a number 8, and a number 4 round, and I also have a number 4 script liner. So that's the set of 7 brushes we'll be using. I have a set of paints from Grumbacher, which again are student grade, called Grumbacher Academy paints, and the colors I'll be using are on my palette here, and it's a small palette that I provide to the students that take my watercolor workshop. So the wells are fairly small, and it's going to be a little hard to see them when I paint, but hopefully from the wells that I paint from you'll be able to see the colors I'm getting. The colors are going around the palette from in a counterclockwise fashion. They are Payne's Gray, Ivory Black, Ultramarine Blue, Cobalt Blue, Phthalo Blue, have 2 greens, Hooker's Green and Phthalo Green in the palette, and I have 3 earth colors, Yellow Ochre, Burnt Sienna, and Raw Sienna, and then I have 3 reds, which are Alizarin Crimson, Cadmium, or Carmine Hue rather, and a Grumbacher Red, which is like a cadmium red. Then I have 3 yellows, a cadmium yellow, I have a golden yellow, and I have a lemon yellow. So that's the paints. The scene is one that I sort of made up that looks like maybe a table with a couple of wine bottles on it, a couple of wine glasses, a block of cheese. I have a sketch here that I will zoom in and let you see what we're going to paint. And hopefully we'll get this thing going here in any moment. Hopefully you can see that sketch on there. It's a little darker sketch than would be normal for a painting, but the pencil lines can become part of the painting itself. So we'll use that and see how it looks, how it works. So I'm going to start out by doing some wetting of the paper. I have this paper mounted vertically, as you can see, which again is a bit unusual for watercolor painters. Most of them paint flat or with a slight tilt to their painting board. I try to do it vertically because it makes the video capture easier, and I don't have to try to have overhead cameras. I don't have an overhead structure in my studio here where I can mount cameras, and so it just makes it easier for me. And I may get some runs in this painting, but sometimes the runs will actually help enhance the look of the overall painting. Again, this is 300-pound watercolor paper. I'm picking up some of the graphite, as you can see, which I'm going to try to wipe some of that off so we don't have a lot of that in the final painting. It'll kind of dirty up the painting a little bit if I have too much graphite in there, so I'm going to pick that up, and as I try to wet this paper down, getting back to wet this down. Again, this is a 300-pound watercolor paper, so it does take a lot of water to get it fairly soaked. I have it mounted on a piece of masonite, which I've cut to be large enough for a larger than a 1/2 sheet of regular watercolor paper. Regular watercolor paper standard size is 30 inches by 22 inches, and a 1/2 sheet is 15 by 22. So this particular board that I have this mounted on is about an inch bigger than that, so I have it, and I can take it on my easel. I can take it, I can use it flat, I can use it vertically. It fits this easel fairly well. I have a watercolor easel that I take out when I go out painting. So anyway, we're at the point where I want to start putting some color on this. So the colors are going to be very sort of bright and bold. I'm going to use some reds and some oranges. Some of my red colors here, I'm using all three colors, just making a puddle of those colors. I'm going to make a puddle of my blue colors over here with my phthalo blue, my cobalt blue, and my ultramarine blue. Just kind of mix them together. It gets 2 or 3 values of blue. If I want to put those blues and reds together, I'll end up getting some violet, and that'll work very well for some of the background. May throw a few earth tones in here. Raw sienna is a color that a lot of painters will put in the background sometimes. I'm going to make up a puddle of my yellows over here. Not yellows, but my earth colors. So I have a well that has my 3 reds in it, my 3 earth colors, and my 3 blues. And you can see a little bit of each one in there, and I'll try to mix them and mingle them as I need them. I might as well make up a puddle of my yellow colors over here as well, taking lemon yellow, golden yellow, using a 3/4 inch round flat brush that helps me get into these wells. The wells are just a little bit narrow for a 3/4 inch, but they fit a 1/2 inch brush very well. Of course, all of the round brushes fit as well. All right, let's see here. Now that looks a little dry on top. I'm going to come back, clean this brush out, and put a little more water in there just to make sure that top is nice and wet. I want this paint to sort of run and diffuse. I've got most of the graphite off now, so that I don't have any smudgy marks in here. You can see a little bit of that yellow from the brush. I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow and just kind of pop some in up here on the top, maybe some over here, some of these earth colors in here. Just throw in some paint. I'm using this big brush again, and letting these colors sort of run and mingle together. Throw some blues in over here maybe. In this area I got some, I want this to be soft, a little bit of green down there. It's turning into green from mixing that blue with the yellow. So we'll just put it in here and let these things run a little bit. Get some dry brush. I don't know. Throw some reds. How about some reds? We haven't any red in there yet. Let's throw some reds in there. Get some red around this wine bottles in here. So this is very loose, soft edges, letting these things run, mingle together, trying to get some sort of a color scheme going here that looks interesting at least. Looks kind of wild and crazy when I look at it on the camera, but we'll do this and then we'll let some of this dry, and as it dries off then we'll come back and put some more colors in and start defining some of these shapes with some hard edges. Some of these I'm getting some hard edges here already because the paper, even though it's 300 pound and I put a lot of water on it, it's still dried out fairly quickly. As you might be able to tell, if you run the brush over it and you leave marks like that, that's called a rough edge. That means paper's dry underneath, or I don't have enough water on my brush, one of the two. So I've got a nice little thing going here with some marks that are diffusing. And I think I'll just leave that. I'm going to leave this little area of white here if I can remember to do that. Sometimes I forget and have the whole thing covered and I've lost all my white paper. One of the things you want to try to do in most paintings is leave a little bit of white paper if you can, and let it draw the eye into that area. I want those hard edges there. This hard edge will be okay. Okay, I think that's all I want to do for that stage. Clean some of these edges off so I don't get runs coming back in from the edges. Over there, close that up. Okay, so the yellow's mingling with the blue gives a little green. The blues and the reds mingling together gives some lavender, violet colors, earth colors are in there. So let's stop, and I'm going to dry this now with my hair dryer, and it's probably going to be very loud, so I may, in the editing process, cut some of this out, or at least cut the sound down. Okay, that should be fairly dry. Way to tell if a paper's wet or dry is if you use the back of your finger and you put it on the paper, and if the paper feels cold, that's probably wet. If it feels about the temperature of finger, it's probably dry. So this feels a little damp to me slightly because it is such thick paper, but I think it's dry enough that we can start putting on some other shapes and colors here to sort of outline our objects, and you can still see, I think, through the with the pencil sketch. I'll zoom in here very tightly with this particular camera and see if we can see the sketch. So you can still see the sketch very easily. It's there. The pencil lines are there, and so I can see them too. So I'll start working around them and start trying to leave some colors that represent things like these wine bottles and wine glasses and so forth. So, and we can do that by either painting negatively or painting positively. And I have some lines that sort of represent some angular things here that I'm probably going to put in some marks to make it kind of look like it might be a room, maybe not exact rectangular room. One thing about abstracts is you try not to make all the lines perpendicular and exactly 90 degrees and that sort of thing, because it adds more interest and more color to the painting. So let's see here if I can get some other colors mixed up. I'm going to pull in a little bit of Payne's gray with this blue to see if I can get a sort of a grayish color, and start coming around. I think, let's see here. I'm going to start highlighting some of this around this wine bottle here. Again, I'm going to get some running because I'm vertical. Be careful of that. You can soak that up. But if you come around this thing like this, all of a sudden you start seeing the outline of a wine bottle. By drying out my brush, I can take this edge and now sort of soften it and blend it very carefully into the other colors, so you sort of lose that edge as it blends out. So that leaves basically an outline. You can see part of that bottle there, and I've blended these other edges, hopefully so they're soft enough that you can sort of blend in with the other paint that's there and don't leave too many marks. On the other side, I want to have something similar, but I'm going to change the color slightly. But in this area here, we're going to have an angular. It comes down sort of like this on the top of that bottle, going up like this. And something like this. So this can be the wall or something behind this bottle. Take the bottom and sort of soften it up. These edges up here, try to soften these up a little bit if we can. Soft edges, hard edges, warm colors, cool colors, blend them, mix them together, and you end up with some very beautiful things happening in there. So that looks like an odd-shaped wine bottle, but you can still see that it's probably a wine bottle. a little more down this way. There. Don't want to make these things perfect because that's the idea of an abstract. And you can let them overlap and run over each other, that sort of thing. I have some stuff in here that looks a little bit like a cheese, block of cheese. I'm going to just put in some yellows in here. Maybe I'll orange it up a little and put another something over here to sort of pull it together. Not sure what else I had in there. Oh, I had another. Yeah. Take these, when you do these drawings, you actually paint, you draw right over each other and sort of let them sort of run together. And as you do the painting, you can also do that with the brush. Let these things sort of run together. Get a little puddling here. I got to watch for. Pick it up. A little cad yellow maybe. Here. And if I use a color over there, I want to use some of it somewhere else so I don't end up with one color only showing. All right. Let's see how that looks. Getting some interesting shapes anyway, which is what we're trying to get here. How about some earth colors here with a little burnt sienna? I haven't tried that yet. Where do I want it? How about right in here? Just a small sliver. Not very dark, but we'll put something in there. Let it run, let them bleed together. So I'm negative painting again. You can start to see the stem of a wine glass showing up here. Probably can even see part of the wine glass. It's setting on an angle. How about up here? Let's put a little. Let's see. I'm going to try some orange. I want to get some orange in here because I got a couple of objects that look like oranges down here in more in the foreground, I guess. So I'm still using this 3/4 inch flat. And just taking a dry brush and pulling, you can pull some of that paint up. So I'm negative painting this whole thing so far. You should be able to see a couple of wine bottles starting to appear and part of a wine glass starting to appear. Soften these edges at the top, let it blend together. I have another section on the left here that I want to bring in. It's sort of an angular piece. And I want to bring it down to where? Down to about here. Okay, that's that color. Let me throw some other mixture in there that sort of leaves some interesting shapes in there. All right. let's see, over here on this other side, I'm still using these colors, just these 3 puddles of red, the puddles of 3 reds, and the puddle of 3 yellows, and the puddle of 3 blues. If I need some more colors, I just go back and grab some more pure color and stick in these wells. So you can see that. Down here. Okay. How about some of this blue, excuse me, under here. We'll light darken that out a little bit. Something in here that is a shape. I'm not sure what it is. But I'll leave a thing that looks a little bit like one of those cheese cutters type of thing. It has a little hook on the end of it. Might be something in this area over here that change the color. I don't want that all the same color as the previous one. And just take that and run it down this way. Kind of looks like might be a wall of some kind. And by just using clear water, I'm just kind of pull it down like this. Okay. Run it right into this. Soften that up. Let it blend together. Leave some nondescript shapes out there. We don't have to define everything. We only need to have a few objects defined in this painting, and we've already got about 3 or 4 things that look like wine bottles, 2 wine bottles, a wine glass. I'm going to take this area here and sort of define this other wine glass. So I'm now painting inside this wine bottle, but I'm helping define the look of a wine glass here on the left. And it's going to come down to there. Okay. So that'll help with that. Over here on the other one, get me some lavender, some violet of some sort. Make a little darker color around this wine glass here. This is all done so far with this 3/4 inch brush. Okay. I'm not sure what I have on this left side. I do have a couple of circular things that look like they might be an orange of some sort. I don't know if oranges go with wine, probably not, but it's a still life type of scene that has these bold colors. I'm going to take a round brush. I'm using my number 8 round. I'm going to see if I can stick in a couple of orange looking things here. There's one. Get another one with a little different color. Change the color. Vary the colors, vary the shapes. Vary the colors, vary the shapes. Makes paintings interesting. Okay. We'll just let that run and see what happens. Over here, I'm going to try to see if I can maybe define the other side of this little wine glass over here on the second wine glass, which is like right in here. And I'm going to darken this. And if I leave this little tip like that, it'll look like this is a wine glass that's make a straight edge out of it. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we have some things that look like wine glasses and wine bottles. I think it looks a little bit like cheese over here. Let's see, what can I put in here to help define this a little more? Okay. Just leave some little marks over there to help fill in this shape so we don't have all one color. I'm going to put a little thing up here that kind of looks like it might be something on the wall, like a painting or something. That is a wall. Might look like a wall. Okay. I think I need to darken a little bit of this area in this wine bottle. I need some more reds in there to darken that up a little bit. Alizarin, using my reds. I'm going to stick a little blue in there to darken it down a little bit. I need a darker violet. Pulling a little ultramarine blue, that darkens things up pretty fast. And in here, well, let's see. I don't want to duplicate that color. And I don't want it to be much, I guess I want it to be redder. I'm going to put a little more pink in there. I just want it to be darker. I don't want it to be more purple necessarily. So let's see if I can do this. Three-quarter-inch flat brush again. Got some interesting running down here. If I were painting flat, I wouldn't have that problem. Up here, I want to put a little bit more of this so I can, again, trying to outline this thing that looks like another wine glass. Okay, something like that. All right, I put something in there that looks like a table or something, and I want to sort of highlight that, I guess. This could be sort of the front of the table, I guess. Just light it up, throw some water in there, blend it out. Don't need a lot of interesting stuff. I just want to change the color so you can see from sort of earth color to the reddish color to the blues, lavenders. I got all the colors in that thing. It looks sort of like the front of the table. All right, what else do I need to do to this? Probably could darken up the darks a little more. Maybe I'm going to, I think that's what I'll do with this one wine glass. I'm going to make this stem very dark here. Not very dark, but at least darker than what it was. My brush is flaking out on me, splitting. So I'll get some color in here like that. Blot it out, blot the brush out, dry it out, try to blend it, keep a soft edge. Okay, that's good enough. Stop. If I keep messing with it, I'll mess it up, so I don't want to do too much. I I do want to put a little thing in that looks like maybe the top of the lid or something, or the cap on the top of the wine bottle. So I'm going to get some my little 1/4 inch flat and sort of put a dark top on there like that. The other one, I want a top on it, but I don't want it to be the same color. So I'll come down like this. And sometimes they have a little thing across them, some sort of a label that's nondescript that you might be able to see part of. That helps outline that. Like that. So I got a little square-like thing here that looks like it might be a label. Don't have to put a label in there, but as long as it looks like it, that's all we need to do. I don't have to do too much more to this painting, I don't think, to tell the story I'm trying to tell. It's only about 35 minutes. I'll leave this white area down here. I got a nice abstract shape here, totally undefined, and I'm going to leave it that way. A little shape up here, almost looks like a little wine glass echoing up here on the top. Angles that come down that sort of look like it might be in sort of a room with some sort of a painting on it, hanging on the wall. Other than that, I think I'm going to call this painting finished. Very quick, 30 minutes or thereabouts, and we have a representative abstract. Representative means it's a representative abstract represents something that you know, you recognize some of the objects in it, as opposed to a non-representative abstract where you probably won't recognize any of the shapes in a non-representative abstract. So slight definitional difference, and I kind of like these that have a something that you know. It could look like this could go on the wall of a kitchen, or on the wall of a bar or a tavern or something like that, and would be kind of a nice placement. It's know what they are, but you still don't have shapes that are so abstract that you can't really make them out. So anyway, that's the painting for today, and until I see you again, keep painting and keep watching, keep subscribing to my channel. I'll keep putting paintings out there if you keep watching, and I hope you like this one. See you soon. So long. Okay, so after I finished the painting, here's what it looked like, and I thought that it needed a little more dark, so I decided to spend a few more minutes and put in some dark shapes in and around the bottom and darken some of the background. I hope you like this better. If not, you can stop where I left off with the video. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.